Hello, YouTube. Today we are going to Frosty Amara, our cryo damage Amara. Now, like the sour apple build, we are sticking to the whatever augment we are using. In this case, cold hearted for cryo. We do have to use that capstone. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the build. Now, one of the other things that I was looking at is, of course, the Malawan weapons are always going to be great. So whenever you look at like your Kibsworth, your Flipper, those are going to be great. And I didn't really want to stick to leaning towards those stronger weapons for every build, since there will be more varieties of this with having Cryo, Shock, Fire, Corrosive. So with Cryo Amara, I leaned more towards the dolls. I already had a really strong love for doll weapons, and I like how they feel, specifically with Cryo. So doll was the one that I really leaned hard into for Cryo specifically. With the Chaosin, I typically like to run Kill Stack, which is killing an enemy grants 13% weapon damage and reload speed for 25 seconds, and that effect does stack. For the Soul Render, I like to run the consecutive hits, and for the Sandhawk, I run 150-90. So usually you're using this for breaking those high health enemies. For example, using it to kill Kraken quickly here in Not One Takedown. And with every build, I like to put the EMP5 on there. We are not using this to shoot or do any damage with whatsoever. However, I do like to have it on a build for the movement speed. Like the corrosive build, Cryo's not great against shields, so we are having a bolter on here for Guardian Takedown. In other instances, a Cryo Old God is great, and if you run the action skill end Apply Terror to yourself every 3 seconds ability, you can take advantage of some of the cool terror annoyance like Fire Rate Terror Annoyance, Extra Cryo Damage Terror Annoyance, or if you would rather just run action skill and cryo on here and just really take advantage of more cryo with the buff from the cryo the old god gives as well. Or, of course, the Frozen Heart with cryo is just going to do fantastic because the Frozen Heart has a very large Nova. And if you run an Icebreaker with Frozen Heart, where you're already getting a lot of freezing because of the Frozen Heart, you are going to get extra damage out of that because of the Icebreaker's effect, which deals extra damage to targets. So if you are someone who doesn't like to run the same manufacturers, say you like to run a Soul Render and change out the Chaosin for a Light Show or a Tizzy, something like that, I would really advise running the Icebreaker Victory Rush with Frozen Heart and using those to your advantage. As far as grenade goes, fish slaps are really great for takedowns, just for extra damage. And of course, whenever you're running into like cryo heavy, being able to throw a fish slap that does a lot of damage really quickly is just a nice little throw there. As usual, my preferred grenade for not those instances, but for using the anoint, is the Hex. I like to run the Radiation Hex so that you can get more red explosions. Another setup that I tested out and really liked for this was the Deathless Icebreaker combo. So with the Deathless, you're going down to 1 health, meaning you can take advantage of the URAD Anoint. Under 50% health, you gain extra radiation damage. So combining radiation and cryo together and just doing a lot of really high damage is a lot of fun. It isn't quite as survivable overall, but it is really fun to run in mobbing instances or trials. And I did find myself really preferring the Phase Zerker. I tested out a couple of other comms, but overall, the Phase Zerker was just really giving me the main thing I was looking for. In the skill tree, we are going 5 out of 5 and Trust in Yourself for the reload speed and charge speed, 5 in Heavy Rain for the projectile speed and flash damage, 3 and Go with the Flow for anytime we're freezing an enemy, we get extra weapon damage and move speed. 3 and Unweave the Rainbow for the bonus damage to our Cryo anytime we deal splash damage to a frozen enemy. Now you could go the melee skills here, however, because we're not taking advantage of things like the Blade Fury or Face Puncher, I decided those weren't really optimal. 4 and Burn Both Ends for the increase in damage overall. You can take out 1 and both ends, put into Free the Soul if you would like to get the Cryo homing splinters that come out of Free the Soul. 3 and Body and Mind for the extra splash damage. 2 and Atman for extra skill damage. 1 and Clear the Mind because we get to ignore elemental resistances whenever we get a kill. While it doesn't affect the elemental immunities, such as the heavyweights, you do get to ignore some of the resistances, which can really help out when you're blocking yourself to a spell. Blue Tree, we go 5 out of 5 from Do Harm. It's really great whenever you are using Light Fantastic, or when you use Ties That Bind specifically on Anathema, and grasp one of the enemies near him, kill the enemy, and it can complete that phase. 3 and Fast Hands for the reload speed. 1 Violent Tapestry for the status effect chance. 2 and Alacrity for the reload speed. 3 and Transcend for the critical hit damage. 1 in Restless for a little bit of action skill cooldown. 3 in From Rest for the fire rate and charge time. 3 in Laid Bare so that we can debuff the enemies. 1 in Wrath. 1 to get down to Remnant, and 2 because the extra gun damage is. And 1 in Remnant so that we get that extra homing projectile, which is really great in instances like where you're mobbing and it just takes out an extra enemy that you don't worry about. The 1 in Anima is from our class mod. 3 in Steady Hands for the accuracy and weapon handling. 5 in Infusion for the extra elemental skill damage to our gun. 5 in Tempest for the extra elemental damage. 2 in Wildfire for the chance for Cryo Spread. 1 in Dread so that anytime we are using either Ties That Bind or Eternal Fist, we get some extra damage. 3 in Indiscriminate for the ricochet chances, giving us some extra damage. 1 in Deep Well, since we are using a cryo gun for the extra magazine size. 1 in Sustainment. Sustainment is a great survivability skill, so just putting 1 there really helps you stay up. And the 3 in Conflux are from our class mod. There's 1 in Clarity from our class mod, and instead of going into 3 personal space, I decided to use those points to get down to Remnant and finish out Laid Bare. Now, as always, I like to point out that I do have everything in the Guardian perk ranks. So if you don't have Groundbreaker, you don't have Hollow Point, you are going to see a difference in your damage there. And with that, let's go ahead and do our Malawan takedown, and I will see you guys on the other side. Alright, guys, that was our Frosty Cryo Damage Amara. If you got all the way through the video, hit that like button down below. For those of you on PC, there is going to be a link to the Discord in the description box, where you can pick up a file so that you can play around with this build. If you have anything certain you'd like to see next, let me know in the comments down below. With that, guys, I've been your local sassy SwinLaw. Stay classy, Vandal.